can keep you down, pushing deep until you drown, or they can keep you up strong, focused on the...
Hey guys, Fafnir here, and we have an interesting form of content here today for you guys. Everyone has that sort of fear we can all agree is scary, and well, today is a unique question I challenge to ask you. Which truly causes the most psychological fear responses? Is it the Nuzlocke, the pride and joy of Pokemon's community, or is it the three-part franchise that just got a nice remake recently, Dead Space? Well, first, we're going to dive into some background context, starting with the beloved franchise founded and released in 1996. Pokemon, a beloved franchise and big IP of Nintendo, was established in 1996. Nuzlocke challenges were first created in 2010 by a California University student, Nick Franco, or Nuzlocke as his handle was. For him, playing Pokemon Ruby at the time got repetitive and boring, so he created two sets of rules to make his game more difficult and challenging. These rules were the standard two rules of the now current Nuzlocke format, which were as follows. 1. You can only catch the first Pokemon you encounter in a new area, and 2. If a Pokemon faints, it's considered dead, when boxed, or released. This, instead of creating a difficulty that was harder or more mentally taxing for Nick, he had grown attached to and care for his Pokemon. For this experience, he later made a comic he posted on his journey and playthrough onto the forums of 4chan, where it gained notoriety and thus the Nuzlocke Challenge was born. So, what makes this challenge full of fear? Well, it's two major things, one of which is a common and major phobia all human beings experience. That phobia is called the Thanatophobia, or death anxiety fear. This is the fear of losing someone close to you. This phobia is a common fear in all humans and is created when we name those Pokemon and play through, risk losing them every single time, much like how every single day a person out there could lose someone they love, and that fear causes us to play things safe, as Nuzlockers say, for fear of losing our beloved Pokemon. Well, that begs the question, what is the second fear? And to that, I say it's a lot more complicated. That, my friend, is the fear of challenge, or Antidiophobia. I probably butchered the hell out of that. This is the fear of failure. Most Nuzlockers feel when they attempt a challenge that seems destined to failure, as it makes people hesitant to try or even do the challenge or keep going after losing a Pokemon. Now, with those out of the way, let's get on to the beloved and amazing horror franchise, Dead Space. Dead Space, released on October 13th, 2008 by Visceral Games. This game's sound, art design, and story were driven from inspiration of Capcom's critically acclaimed Resident Evil series, notably the original Resident Evil 4 for PlayStation 2. This game was a sort of test game or grassroots, meaning the developers didn't expect it to go anywhere, as developers called it that, while protagonist Isaac Clarke had to navigate the necromorph-infested USG Ishimura to save his team and to find his lover Nicole Brennan. The game featured the kind of deep space horror immersion similar to the original Resident Evil game's deep immersion into the story, environment, and characters. At the time, for silent protagonists like Isaac Clarke, this was very good for a game on Xbox and was what started a huge trend to make more games from this studio, spawning Dead Space 2 and later Dead Space 3. These huge successes lead to the major overhaul update of the first game, resulting in a release remake of Dead Space in 2023. Now voiced by Gunnar Wright, who voiced Isaac in the second and third games, it turned the fear factor up to 11. The new fleshed out dialogues of Isaac, the immersion and hunting factors, the interactions between Isaac and other characters make us as the player grow more attached and immersed in the story. This evokes strong, repeatable emotions in the story, such as the argument between Hammond and Daniels, involving the marker, where Isaac, unlike in the first game, jumps in and says,
Isaac, I'm looking at the ADS cannons. They're a mess. I'm gonna need your help. I am not losing the Ishimura. Not now.
The Ishimura, Hammond, or the marker?
That artifact they found?
Don't bullshit us. CEC knew all along about the marker, didn't they? Isn't that why you're really here? Corporate wouldn't send the Ishimura for some off-the-books mining. But alien technology, yeah, that fits.
Then how does losing my team fit into this theory?
Hey, knock this shit off. We're into the debris field. We get the ADS back together, or it's over.
Then meet me at the captain's nest. Daniels?
Fine. But I'm going through the ship reports, Hammond. I'm getting some answers.
and this evokes a strong sense of emotion in us as a player and shows us a personality to Isaac. I remember first playing it in my series and thinking the same thing because I could feel the mounting stress of Isaac as he navigates the hellhole ship trying to save everyone. So that begs the question, what kind of psychological fear tactics does the Dead Space franchise employ? Well, simple. The categories we made to deal with that, it gets bumpy. It really does get bumpy for it. Because It's complex, simple yet complex. They use a tactic of making the character and us, by extension, scared, using dementia and lighting of the area. Dementia is a loss of memory disease, which can be scary, forgetting things and the people you love. We cope with that theme around the marker and the environment of dark lighting on a ship, random sounds in the vents, and random as hell jump scares that make this game go from just a generic horror to a goddamn nightmare. And it makes the fear psychologically more scary and impactful, given Isaac's lines and the environment of constantly sweeping rooms, watching vents, and even checking safe rooms many times just to be sure we're safe. If it isn't the music or random horde triggers, then it's the environment and random sounds you hear as you explore the Ishimura. This game took horror, handed it an AR-15, and essentially said, go cause chaos. And chaos it did. This played a major part in how visceral games used fear. Well then, with both of these in mind, how do we determine a winner? Well, it's going to be very hard. Very hard. I will say that. But I made it simple for you guys. I categorized it into 3 categories. Impact. How did the fear or tactic work on you as you played? Environment. Did you have prior research and tricks to help you get around? And 3, the responses we get in response to those fears. How did you, as a person, respond to the fears? So going on, mind you, these are just speculatory. Anyone has their own opinions in the comments. And I'd be happy to hear yours, so drop it down below. And let's get into the readings. These will be scaled on 1 to 10, with a 1 being horrible and 10 being a banger as a result. With these in mind, let's compare the franchises. Pokemon, on the first side of the rank, scored a 5 out of 10 in impactfulness. This is because as someone doing a Nuzlocke series, the death during the run I experienced didn't impact me as much as I would have thought, considered the game, difficulty, etc. For the environment, I have to give it a 1 out of 10 because of my playthrough and knowledge from Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. The Brilliant Diamond Nuzlocke felt too easy. And lastly, responses. Sad to say, but Pokemon got a 3 out of 10 due to a lack of a truly evoking, fearful, and painful response. This was very sad as, yeah, I lost a Pokemon, but it didn't make me play as safe as people think as I kept on trucking. So that gives our final score for Pokemon a 9 out of 30. Now, for Dead Space, and boy, does it get bumpy. Impactfulness was a solid 10 out of 10. Reason being is no matter what I played on PC or Xbox, or even if I beat the game once, nothing prepared me for the random jump scares or even attacks, and so it always made me check every corner, sweep every room, and for the love of God, look at the vents hoping nothing ambushes me. Environment, I gotta give it a 6 out of 10. Due to beating the game on Xbox, I had some knowledge of certain areas over others. This, however, did not prepare me for this next one. Responses. For responses, it's another solid 10 out of 10. This is because no matter the playthrough, recorded or not, the genuine fear that occurs in this dark-ass ship as the Necromorphs attack always sent chills down my spine and made me panic and fight for my life. This gives Dead Space an overwhelming score of 26 out of 30. And with that in mind, it wraps it up. We have to give the win to Dead Space. Dead Space not only created a massively fearful environment to do this, they also created such responses out of me as a player that overwhelmed the fear factor, made me actually go fight or flight. I can tell you many times, honestly, that I've stopped playing the game because I've gotten so fucking scared. I was like, nope, I need a break, I need a break, I need a break. Nope. And that is genuinely how good it is. And with that, we wrap it up with Dead Space as the overwhelming victor. Comment down below you agree, or tell me the next 2 fearful games you want me to pit head-to-head in the ring. And with that, this is Fafnir, signing off.
All the roads we travel, the journey of our lives. Take another picture before we say goodbye.